Hi guys, Dr. Davis here for your week 6 live lecture. As this is a shorter week for us and the final week in the course, I'd like to go ahead and send you your live lecture a little bit earlier than normal for our final week, because I know it's, like I said, it's a short week and everyone's working to try to finish up assignments, and I don't want you to have to wait to the last minute to view this meeting. So with that in mind, I want to go ahead and send this out to you, and plus I know that most, if not all of you, are watching the recorded version of the meetings, and that's perfectly fine. So I just thought it might be easier for everyone to go ahead and just get the recording and view it in their own time, especially since everything is just a lot shorter this week as far as turnaround goes. So welcome to the meeting. Welcome to your final live lecture in this course. I have thoroughly enjoyed having you as students this term, just reading your thoughts each week, and just the time and the effort that you put into your assignments has not gone unnoticed, and I'm very grateful to you for that. So with that being said, like all other live lectures, we're going to go over your assignments for this week. We're going to go over the details for the assignments. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Yes, in regards to expectations and so forth. We're also going to talk a little bit about the weekly material, just kind of some of the concepts so you have a greater understanding of such. And of course, we'll have time at the end. If you have any questions, you can send me an email in the course, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. All right, so, excuse me, I skipped a slide there, didn't I? All right, so your assignments for this week. There are no readings for this week. So with that being said, I'd like you to focus on your final assignments, as the course will close on Friday. So your assignments will be due, especially your written assignments will be due this Friday. Your weekly discussions are going to be, weekly discussion is going to be on current issues in the media. Don't forget to have your initial post made by Tuesday and your reply post done by Friday. So that due date changes to Friday this week instead of Saturday. Also, you have 2 written assignments this week. You're completing 2 written assignments. One is titled Self-Portrait, and the other is The More You Know. So we'll discuss those in just a moment. But don't forget that you do have 2 written assignments this week, and both will be due by Friday at 11:59 p.m. Central Time, which again is why I like to go ahead and do this live lecture for you a little bit in advance, because I know you have a lot of stuff to do this week, and we have a lot quicker turnaround this week. All right, so your discussion. We've successfully completed the course at this point in terms of readings and discussions and so forth. So now it's time to apply the learning and the knowledge that you've gained throughout the course, and to locate an article from the media and share it with the class on what I'm about to talk about. So first, I'd like you to look in a reputable publication for an article that addresses any issues from the media that we've covered in the course so far. For example, you might find an article in the New York Times about the portrayal of race in the media, or an article in the Los Angeles Times about a new generation of shock advertising. So what I'd like you to do is, once you locate the article you'd like to discuss on something that's relevant that we've talked about in the course so far, I'd like you to summarize the article, its contents, its views, and its relevance to the class, and I'd like you to provide a link to the article so we can check out the article as well, so we can kind of follow your thoughts as far as your initial post goes. So I'd like you to find an article from a reputable publication that talks about something we've addressed in the course so far. It could be stereotyping, it could be shock advertising, it could be persuasion and propaganda. It could just be so many different things. So what I'd like you to do is summarize that article in your initial post, talk about the contents of the article, the views, the relevance to this class, and of course include a link to the article. And in your reply post, I'd like you to discuss, of course, your classmates' thoughts, and also try to identify the potential effect or future implications of the issue that your classmate is presenting here. So with that being said, remember that your initial post is due on Tuesday, while your reply posts are due by Friday this week, Friday. All right, so here's an example of something that I might actually include in this discussion. So we've talked about shock advertising so far in the course, in your readings, and so, it's a favorite discussion of mine, so I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about shock advertising. So shock advertising I located an article which really went over some of the most shocking advertising that we found in the media so far. And of course, in my initial post, I would discuss that article that I found. I would include the link to the article, and I would discuss its relevance, the contents of the article, and how it relates to shock advertising as something we've discussed in the course. Now, shock advertising can cause quite the uproar, and it's just being used more and more in today's modern world. This is an example of shock advertising, and one that was actually discussed in the article that I would be summarizing for my initial post. This shock advertisement is actually from Legos, and basically the caption at the, you can see in the middle of the right hand side of the screen, you'll see the Lego logo. And the caption, because I know it's a little difficult to read, says, "Kids shouldn't watch too much TV." You might say, what in the world? Because I know sometimes some of my, excuse me, some of my students have a problem connecting what they're going for here. But what this is saying is that this sort of stuff that you're seeing here, this right here, displayed on the screen, is on television too often. And so kids should avoid watching things like this on television and instead play with Legos. So the article included with this advertisement discussed the increased prevalence of shock advertising in the media. And in fact, I'm going to give you a few more examples that it also discussed as well. So that would be something from the article that definitely relates to our course. This is another example of shock advertising. This was actually used a couple of Christmases ago now, and this was Kmart's Joe Boxer's Christmas advertisement. And if you don't know what it is and you would like to check it out, you can go on YouTube and just put in Kmart's Joe Boxer's Christmas advertisement or Christmas commercial, and it'll definitely pop up for you to watch the whole thing. But this was another example of shock advertising. So, and there's one more that I would like to show you. And this was actually first displayed, I believe, during the Super Bowl. I'm wanting to say it was just a couple of years ago. So this is, the advertisement is Skittles French the Rainbow. And this Skittles commercial titled French the Rainbow caused quite the uproar as well. As stated, shock advertising is taking more of a center stage in our everyday advertising, whether we like it or not. So with that being said, it's definitely something relevant to discuss. It's something that I found an article on that interests me and that I would probably like to summarize for my initial post in the discussion this week, talk about the contents of the article, how it relates to what we've talked about in the course, which is the topic of shock advertising and so forth. So just a little bit to kind of get you thinking of things you might want to cover. It doesn't have to be shock advertising. It can be stereotyping. It can be goodness, there's so many different things we've talked about in the course. So it can be persuasion versus propaganda and so forth. So just kind of a little bit to get you thinking there. And don't forget that your initial post is due by Tuesday and your reply posts are due by Friday this week, Friday. All right, so written assignment number 1 that you're going to be completing this week is on the self-portrait assignment. Now, it's been said that every photograph is a self-portrait. I'd like you to reflect on this statement for your paper, or one of your papers this week, and what you've learned in the course so far. So in a brief one-page essay, I'd like you to explain what is meant by the statement above, which is every photograph is a self-portrait. And I'd like you to also elaborate on how you can apply your learning from this course to your future careers. So you're going to submit your completed assignment to the Dropbox in the course. Don't forget to check out the course calendar for due dates, but of course remember that your 2 written assignments this week are due on Friday, not Sunday, Friday, and your initial post to the discussion is due on Tuesday, while your reply posts to the discussion are due by Friday. So everything wraps up on Friday. It's imperative that you understand that. With that being said, your live lecture code for this week is due by Friday as well. So make sure that you're sending me your live lecture code word by Friday as well. So everything wraps up on Friday. Very important that you understand that. So make sure that you've tied up all of your loose ends for the course and have successfully completed what you need by Friday. All right, but that's not your only written assignment this week. You also have a second written assignment. And that one is titled The More You Know. So we've talked about Huxley so far in this course. Huxley's been hailed as a genius. It's, that's up to you. It's up to you if you want to call him that or not. We all have our different opinions on that. So, but in a 1 to 2 page paper, I'd like you to discuss why Huxley's statement, the more you know, the more you see, is so important. I'd like you to include your own personal feelings on it if you agree or you disagree with that statement, which we kind of kicked off the course with that statement, the more you know, the more you see. So I'd like you to in a 1 to 2 page paper, discuss this statement and include your personal feelings on if you agree or disagree with that statement. And don't forget, this assignment is also due by Friday as well. All right, so with that being said, your code word this week. I am not much of a fitness person, but I've gotten better in the past few years, and my sister and I are pictured right there in our very first, this was a while back, so this was our very first mud run. And if you've never done a mud run, they're a lot of fun. They're exactly how they sound. They're muddy, they're dirty. It's a little 5K. It's nothing too large, and it's just a lot of fun to complete. So your code word this week is run, because that's what we were doing here. We were running through the mud and the muck, and it was very cold, but it was a good time. So run is your code word this week. All right, like I said, don't forget this code word is due by Friday this week, not Sunday, Friday. So make sure to email me your code word by Friday, and all I need to know is run. All right, so if you have any questions, you can send me an email on the course. Otherwise, just a short little lecture this week because I want you to focus on everything that's due this week and the fact that the course wraps up on Friday. So if you do have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, enjoy your week. Thank you, and thank you so much. My best wishes on your future endeavors. Thank you.